They're both having a grin about it. Nelson, Tisherna, Crombie, along with Yedicek and Prods to open. They're faced off with Ritchie, Powell, and Torrance. Danford along with Morelli as we are underway in game two. Luca Morelli shuttling the puck ahead for Luke Torrance. Adam Yedicek will run it the other way, and Danford the first man back.
And see Jamie Key putting his Crombie, Nelson, Tisherna line on the Callum Ritchie line for the Generals.
Powell and Tisherna continuing conversation. David Egrov sends it around the back. Nelson holds up in his own zone. Puck was deflected. Powell to the front, tries to dance loose, and then Tisherna slams him to the end wall. Puck along the blue line. Morelli steps on. Save made by Egrov. Crombie tries to chip it loose. Crombie will move his way forward, indirect bouncing through neutral ice.
Looked like Crombie might have had a lane to spring Yedicek on a 2-on-1 with no one else, but as I often say, it looks easier from up here than down there.
Nelson on the tight radius turn, relieved of the puck by Barlow. Just got the toe on it. Potts going the other way with Brown through the middle of the ice. Brown reaches out. Nice play made by Powell. Powell with Torrance working wide. Puck to the end wall. Powell stick lift, delivered front. Kicked away by Igorov. Callum Ritchie was incredible in possession in game one. On for Torrance in the corner to Powell. Sent that up off back glass. D'Amato to the middle of the ice. Torrance. Duel going on in front. Igorov able to handle the puck away. Lardis twists on to Patrick Thomas. Thomas waiting for the exchange at the Bulldogs bench. And now Lardis will deliver back to Hamilton.
Maintain this pace that they come out here with.
Ritchie's line onto the ice and a glove save by Igorov off the Torrance drive.
Time. Something we saw quite a bit of in game one.
Nick Lardis flying onto the puck and neutral ice off the left wing side at Morelli. Pulls back, toe save by Oster. That was more difficult than it looked.
Good confidence building save there for Jacob Oster.
Rod steps on. That drive carried on wide. It was a bit of a knuckle puck.
So I don't think he's a goalie that lacks some confidence.
I don't believe so. Powell over the line. Left side, drop back is Morelli. Steps to the middle, sent it wide, was looking for Ritchie. He was locked up with Prods. Powell over to play the body on Lardis. And Lardis drops it back to Prods. Both teams initiating changes as we head. Nelson on for Tisherna, down to the left wing corner. He'll turn just wide short side. Yedicek around the back, connects with Crombie. On now to Nelson to the top. Prods, left point, top of the left circle. Nelson. This is what you talked about earlier, Norm. The TNC line getting that puck in below the dots and setting a cycle.
Hey, just disrupt, go out there, get some offensive zone momentum going, and then create some chances if you can. If not, hand it over to your team in a better place than where you started.
Powell, nice play to get that puck loose from Yedicek, but the drop pass picked off by Crombie. Tisherna over the line, right side, poked loose by D'Amato. Puck followed Tisherna in his skates. Rogowski pokes it loose to D'Amato, who is not shy about getting on the rush. Powell turns back, looking for help. Has Morelli back door.
Though I think we're starting to see a little bit the Generals starting to assert themselves, as I touched on a moment ago. Bulldogs are going to have to find a way to keep this offensive zone momentum, and this is just the line to do it.
Danford tosses into the Brantford zone. Torrance lets it run to Ritchie. Puck played down to the left corner. Nelson around the back to Owen Protz. Protz playing on to Tisherna. Left it on for Protz as a crowd formed. Callum Ritchie was able to handle a rolling puck. Taken back by Nelson over the line. And it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It's Big Ten football. As Torrance picks it up to the blue line. Ritchie pokes it loose. Right back ahead to Calvin Crombie.
So a really good example a moment ago. Again, the philosophy of this line. Noah Nelson had the puck just above the circle on the near boards here and took a quick peek across ice, and then he's like, no, I'm just going to dump this down below and let Crombie and Tisherna go chase it.
Tisherna skates out high, plays it into the pile. Jacob Oster tracking that through a crowd, able to glove it down.
Maybe? I don't know if Troy saw that from ice level.
No, I missed that one. I'm just looking on the bench here to see how Seneca is.
Brown down to the left wing corner where Luca Morelli arrives. Thomas chips that loose. Brown around the back of the net, tried to feed it back to Thomas. Morelli was in the path. Bulldogs had started a change. Ritchie up ahead for Powell. Yudacek blocks it down. Quick on. Thomas kicks it out of the air.
Some soccer players will be proud of that first touch.
Protz up and out, gets deflected. Yudacek will step onto it. Rolled it behind Crombie. That'll allow Danford ahead. Now Powell taken away, and Protz. D-to-D again for Yudacek. 2:03 left in the first period. Tashurna up to Crombie, just offside. As Ritchie and Nelson lean in, Bulldogs had things going their way in that opening frame until the power play for the Generals. And in a 4-on-3, so you talked about, Norm, 3 first-round NHL picks on the ice. That is very, very difficult to stop. Puck along the wall, Tashurna and Crombie over after it. Gibson down to the corner. Tashurna trying to pull it loose. Gibson holding it up, Ritchie in to kick it loose. Gibson again trying to shuttle it along towards Ritchie. It'll spill back to Gibson behind the net. He's pestered, but he'll get it on to Powell and up and out. Sandu active off the left side. His drive kicked aside by Igorov. Sandu from the corner, digging it along the wall. Ritchie floats it low and around the back of the net to Owen Protz. Protz returning. We had that discussion in game 1, guys, about not putting players into your own goalie. It didn't cost the Bulldogs when they did it, but it cost the Generals there. Puck up ahead, Danford. Tracked down by Dylan Tashurna. Tashurna around back of the net to bother him. Nelson on the steal. Nelson from below the goal line. Skips wide on the right, leaving off to Yudacek. Danford stepped over, and that was heavy body contact. Tashurna takes the puck loose. Out front, Crombie trying to get it to sit, and he'll come back out of the zone. Rosetto and O'Donnell collecting the assist. It'll be Aidan O'Donnell's first playoff point in the OHL. Powell sets it down for Barlow, wide on the right side. Barlow turns, save made by Igorov. Yudacek taken to the wall by Powell. Now the puck will be lifted up and out.
It's kind of goal that can be a real lift to a team when your fourth line gets involved. Get a defenseman getting his first to the playoffs.
Over to take it, on to Lardis. Lardis trying to start up and out. Ritchie in the forecheck, got the puck loose. Powell there as well, and now Thomas will force it out. Morelli off the leg of Cole Brown. Torrance was there to help him. Brown drops Torrance.
Lardis, I think, feeling just below us that he may have taken a stick there. No call.
Hamra picks his way through a couple.
So perhaps he didn't.
Luca Testa nearly sent himself into the ice, trying to keep on side, then gets the puck, sends it to the front, bounces around, and Oster gets his glove down on it. Premier face-off man. Got Torrance in the gunner's position behind him. Puck was just kicked away from him. D'Amato's drive to the front, handled by Igorov, and he'll lean in against him this time. Ritchie draws it back, made a play with the stick, but it'll pop onto Yudacek. Yudacek from the left, rolls it into the offensive zone. Tashurna lets it run for Crombie, who tried to deliver to the front, blocked by Torrance. D'Amato takes down the play around back in the net. Powell turns, goes rink wide with the puck. Torrance skating at Yudacek. Yudacek keeps him to the outside. Crombie starts out for Nelson. Nelson rolls it into the zone. Wang steps in at Tashurna. Nelson arrives on the scene. Puck being battled for around the back. Now Nelson to the top, and Protz sends it into the pile. Save made by Oster. And a bit of a stack up after the plays. Jacob Oster and Calvin Crombie.
Tashurna, I think, was the player who took, he trusts him in those situations.
Back to even and full, 5-on-5. Crombie's waiting at the blue line, working at Sandu. Drops it on to Thomas, who hits the brakes hard at Powell. Thomas low on the right, around the back of the net at Danford. Keeps going. Puck picked off by Torrance, who came back to the slot. Torrance wide to Powell, right wing side. Across the play for Buckley, 4-3, great feed to the front. Generals all of a sudden had numbers up ahead. And Matthew Buckley stems the tide for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Bulldogs had caught
Richie to Egorov's right. Off the face-off, Powell taking outside. Top of the circle, Egorov got a piece of that on the way through. Morelli taken to the wall by O'Brien. Torrance over for the puck as well. Morelli low, feeds out high, D'Amato stepping down, missed wide, Torrance back to the front. Egorov will hold it in between the pads.
9-11 here to go in second period, and they've had the edge in the face-offs as well. 20-13 now.
Yedacek stepped in to block that. Puck will be flipped to the Generals bench. The 4-2 goal. Timing can be so key.
Dressing after those two defensive zone draws. Bulldogs bring out the top line here.
Lardis wide on the left, around the back of the net with speed. Tripped down. Bulldogs are going to go to the power play. But Egorov knocked it down. Yedacek lobs it out.
Really good job by Yedacek of boxing out Callum Ritchie from that rebound.
Nelson blocks the puck through neutral ice off his skate. D'Amato into the Brantford zone. Nelson.
The Generals' #1 power play unit played that entire power play. Some good looks.
Lardis got a skate on the puck ahead. Nelson goes to the front. Lardis cycles low. Gibson over to him. Nelson wanted it out front for Testa as Gibson and Lardis continue to battle.
I think Nick Lardis was trying to draw one there, and they were having none of it.
Tommy Budnick flips the puck ahead. Luca Testa plays wide on the left. Off a stick, that was D'Amato's, and up and out with 8. On 4. Protz around behind his own goal. Protz rifles it on ahead. Lardis flying on the left side. Tries it. Oster holds it off. Thomas laying it back to the top. Protz wanted it along the line for Yedacek. Barlow read it well. Puck clattered down to the Bulldog end.
Good defensive play there by Barlow, just interrupting. The D-to-D pass from Protz to Yedacek.
Protz will return it to his partner. Yedacek didn't get what he wanted on that. Powell gave him trouble. Barlow spins high from the right side. Cuts middle. Drops it off. D'Amato waits. Plays it into the pile. It's at the front. Powell scores. Bulldogs didn't get the puck out cleanly. It died out right in the crease. And Noah Powell was able to knock that past David Egorov. Around Ritchie to get it up and out. O'Brien catches it down and tosses it into the offensive zone. Ritchie, Powell, and Torrance right back on the ice. As Gibson will start up and out. Ritchie catches it down over the line. To the blue, Wang for Gibson. Backdoor Ritchie. Played it across the front of the net. That's not the guy you want to leave open.
No. You expect to see these teams with 2 days between game 1 and 2, and then a good... Well, Jamie Key hoping nothing sharpens focus for his team, like a couple of goals like they've just given up. But you can see the momentum switching a little bit on the General side, though.
3 on 1. Crombie ahead on the left. Tried it to the front. Oster able to spin that away.
Good defensive play by Morelli.
Crombie from behind the goal tries the wraparound. Turned back out high. Crombie takes. Over to Hamra on the right. Hamra for Crombie. One-timer. It's a little bit out in front of him. Nelson to the end wall. Tries for Tischerna. Puck is in his skates. Hamra keeps it low. Tischerna around the back. Tischerna with the head up. Cuts high. Loses 2. Shot to the front. Bouncing rebound. Nobody saw it until Morelli picked it up. Powell up ahead. He'll drive wide on the right. Powell's shot. Glove saved by Egorov. He'll hang on with Ritchie going net front. Seneca's out of the box. We're even in full. 5 on 5.
Bulldogs are going to need a whole lot of focus to get through this one. 8 something to go, and you get a chance to see this one out.
Torrance to the front for Powell. Save made by Egorov. Second chance. They're celebrating. Where is the puck? And now there's bodies being tossed on top of David Egorov. 4 left in the kill. Ritchie flies ahead. His shot comes around the back of the net. It'll roll back to neutral ice. Even in full, 5 on 5.
Good kill for the Bulldogs, but a lot of road still in front of them.
Barlow, high lob. Protz to collect it. He'll set it around the back to Adam Yedacek.
And a bit of a trade-off there. The Bulldogs having to do without Tommy Budnick on the penalty kill, and the Generals having to do without Beckett Seneca on the power play.
Bouncing puck, Jacob Oster around the back for Andrew Gibson. Buckley through neutral ice, over the line, D'Amato bounces past him to Powell. Powell slides wide, tried it for Sinavari. Nice creativity there from Powell.
Yeah, Sinavari got stick on that. That was in. It was open.
Powell met by Protz, kept on going with the puck. Protz takes him to the wall.
Oh, Protz got to be careful there. He got their arm off, hand off there, and was a bit of a bear hug there on Powell.
Get a check forward for Van Acker, and that'll run for icing. O'Brien and Ritchie, and O'Brien gets the draw.
Big win.
Hammer off the wall. Griffin won't let it by. Griffin low for Powell. Powell spins loose from the corner for Griffin. Puck hops on him. Budnick's there. Budnick for Van Acker. He tosses it out of the zone. Thomas was looking for it, and it'll be Morelli.
Van Acker just had to chip that puck out and didn't want to take another icing, so.
Great feed by Morelli on to
Oster's
Seneca.
gone.
Oster to the bench, 6-on-5. Barlow had to wait to touch that, and now he'll let Morelli take it. 2.5 to go. Brad Malone says, give me all the time you got. Griffin over the line. Thomas steps to him. Hammer and Wall. Puck stuck on him. Thomas will be the next layer. Griffin to him. Morelli has it at the top. O'Brien directing traffic. Backdoors the feed. Seneca on to Ritchie. Ritchie from the circle. Puck comes around the back of the net. Barlow handles it down for Morelli. Middle of the line. Morelli waiting. Played it to the corner. Budnick will step to it. He'll send it around glass. Funny hop. O'Brien forces it out. He's next on it. Van Acker will beat out the play. Van Acker wanted it to the front. Wouldn't get there. O'Brien shoveling it back to Van Acker. Budnick wide of the empty net.
Budnick had to get that shot. Felt he had to get that shot away quickly and just whistled it by. But good hustle by Van Acker to go down and win that puck.
Morelli forward off the stick of O'Brien. Hamra to the line, wouldn't come out. Morelli had to hold up. Had traffic in his path. Barlow, puck came out past the blue line, and it's offside. Griffin slams it around the end wall. Get a check. Working against Seneca. The puck popped all the way behind the net. Powell in there. Barlow digging. Puck rolls away. Thomas with a sprint forward. Has Noah Nelson. Nelson to the empty. He stuck it.